open packs, pick your team, and crush the competition. This is next level fantasy football. It's free to play. There's £125,000 up for grabs. Download the app today at ultimatefan.com.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Ultimate Fan Fix, brought to you by Ultimate Fan in association with Castor. My name's Dominic Chapman. Delighted to be joined once again by Jess Fishlock, the Ultimate Fan Welsh ambassador. Jess, good to speak to you again. How's things?
Hi, Dom. Yeah, things are good.
Fantastic. The last time we spoke, I know it's been a busy schedule for yourself. Wales were on the eve of their clash in the round of 16 with Denmark. It didn't quite go to plan. What were your kind of emotions and feelings in the aftermath of that game?
No, I know. The way that the game went, you couldn't really feel anything but kind of, we didn't play well. So then when you don't play well, then it's hard to kind of want something from the game that you didn't kind of deserve.
Yeah,
I did feel a bit sorry for the lads. I didn't want the Euros to end that way. But Denmark were unbelievable. They were great. And so it's kind of that, I wanted the lads to do a little bit better. And I think they've got a lot of things wrong in that game. But credit to Denmark. I think they're kind of being a little team in the tournament right now.
absolutely have. Looking back at the first kind of 10, 15 minutes, I actually thought that Wales were able to impose themselves quite well on the game. Was there a particular turning point for you? The first goal was just a great goal, and from there, the pendulum just kind of turned full circle, didn't it?
Yeah. It was interesting because I still felt that Wales were just a little too passive throughout the whole tournament. I didn't feel like they were super aggressive in their kind of defending, especially, they never really pressed at all. And then when they were deeper, it was more of a passive type of defending that I think ultimately did cost them, because it ends up putting a lot of pressure on your kind of body to just roam around for 90 minutes rather than be in a shape and then be super aggressive off that shape. I feel that it would have been better for Wales if they were more aggressive in their defending, just because of the players that they have, but also what that would allow in an attacking transition with the players that we have a little bit higher that can go. And I personally think that if we wanted Bale and Dan James and Ramsey off of an attacking transition, you'd want them higher up the field, closer to the goal. I mean, sometimes Dan James was running 70 yards for a counter-attack. He can do it, but it would be far more effective if you had him doing it from 20 yards or Bale from 20 yards. I think ultimately that was always going to cause them problems this time around, because the Euros are this different to the last time, which is what they did last time. Yeah,
I know a few of the Welsh players are, quite vocal, almost in the kind of annoyance at the amount of travelling that they had to do. Do you think that was a key factor? Would you say in that performance there were just a lot of tired legs out there, come the end of the 90 minutes?
Yeah, I think so. And obviously we kept the same team for the majority of the tournament as well. There wasn't much rotation. And yeah, I mean, 4 of the semi-finalists, right, are the teams that have not done any travel. So I don't think that is a coincidence. It's definitely a factor as to why these teams are where they are. I mean, we talked about having a base and not having to travel. It's so nice for you mentally, let alone then how that would affect your body physically.
Of course, yeah. And just as a bit of a side note, heading into the tournament, there was some off the field, circumstances that were well documented. Rob Page was, sort of thrown in at the deep end at late notice. Do you think there's an element of we probably overachieved? Looking at the group, Italy a very live chance to win the whole thing. Switzerland, went on to knock out France in a penalty shootout and ran, a very good Spain team, very close as well. And Turkey were kind of, considered one of the dark horses heading into the tournament in the first place. Or do you think there's an element of that perhaps with the group we had and playing Denmark again, another team have gone on to go into the semi-final, that it probably wasn't as bad as feared? Or do you still think there's a little bit of regret that it just ended, as you say, very passively?
Yeah, no, I think that the guys did great, and yeah, we had a tough group, and we got out of that group, which was huge for us as a nation and as a team. The team that we have, though, I would have expected them to have maybe have mounted a bigger game against Denmark. I think it was the way that the game kind of ended and the performance that was put on that probably makes it feel like it's worse than what it is. I mean, if it had ended on penalties, then I think we would be saying Wales were unlucky, right? Whereas the reality of it is you're only going to remember that last game, and it just wasn't a great one. No,
of course not. And Denmark since have gone on to knock out the Czech Republic and set up a semi-final tie against England. From what you've seen from them since, obviously being on the opposing end of such a heavy defeat, they've obviously, since the Christian Eriksen incident, we spoke about it on the podcast, last week, that it feels like they've become, the team for neutrals and the people's nation, at the Euro 2020. And I think a lot of people are quite determined to see them, go all the way and obviously, beat England at Wembley tomorrow if they can. How do you rate their chances against Gareth Southgate's side?
I think they have a really good chance. I do. I don't think it's going to be a walkover.
Yeah.
I think that they're just going to be brimming in confidence, like really big confidence. And yeah, I think, everybody as well will want to beat England as well. Unfortunately, they are that nation. I think it'll be a really good game. I do. I'm interested to see what England do. I think Gareth Southgate has been very, very good tactically, and his personality, his picked, his teams they're just so stable. I think that's the only thing that Denmark will come up against is England are defensively very, very strong and very, very stable.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how Denmark kind of approach that.
Mm-hmm. It'd be a great game either way. I think, like you say, I think two teams who have, obviously scored, particularly even England at the weekend. Sort of the floodgates finally seemed to open. Scored 4 goals. Denmark, I think there was a statistic I saw that they were the first team, or one of the first teams, to score 4 goals in consecutive games in the European Championships. And of course, that's without Christian Eriksen, who headed into the Euro 2020 was considered one of their better players. Playmaker, scores goals for fun.
Yeah.
And so to do it without him, I think has been obviously a remarkable achievement, and very much looking forward to seeing that one unfold. We've obviously, at the time of recording, we're on Tuesday. We've got another brilliant game today, a real heavyweight clash between Italy and Spain. How do you see that one going?
I think it'll go in Italy's favor. I think Italy might nab it. But I mean, I don't really think you can write off Spain either. Like, I know that they're not as clinical as they were, or if they always have been.
Mm-hmm.
But some of their play has been up there with, the Spain that we know, the Spain that we always want to talk about, a Spain with Xavi and Iniesta. I mean, some of their play has been at that level. It's just that they have just been, they've missed out clinically in the final third. They just have not taken any of their chances.
Yeah.
And so you just don't know whether that's going to happen against Italy or if it'll be that type of game. And Italy have got so much energy right now. They're the complete opposite to what we were talking about with Wales. They press, they're aggressive, and they are really fluid going forward. So, if I had to say, I think Italy would come away with it, but yet it could go either way. But I'm going to say Italy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Italy will I think Italy will make the final. I hope, of course, against England, but come tomorrow night, we'll know for sure what the final is going to be. Of course, it wasn't meant to be for Wales this tournament. There wasn't a replication of that impressive 2016 run that I'm sure will obviously still live long in the memory for Wales. I'm not expecting an easy answer, but who would you like to see win Euro 2020 with the final four we have?
Honestly, the best team that I've watched that I think, God, these are good, and I want them I want them to win it, is Italy. But I actually think England are going to win it.
You think?
But from the teams that I've watched, the most exciting that I've been personally watching a team has been Italy.
Yeah.
I think they've been great and probably will be deserved kind of winners if they get there. Mm-hmm. But what team do I think is probably most complete? I'd probably say England.
Okay. Well, if that's the final, then one of your shouts is going to be correct. So fingers crossed for that one. They're just a really, really solid tournament team, aren't they? Italy didn't even make 2018, of course, at the World Cup in Russia. But Roberto Mancini, I mean, his pedigree, speaks volumes. And I think, like you say, even though Belgium in the quarterfinal game seemed to have quite a few chances and created plenty, I still never really worried for Italy. I just thought the likes of Chiellini at the back and Bonucci, and they're just solid all over. Insigne going forward. They're a fantastic team to watch, as you say, and I think they would certainly be worthy winners on the evidence that we've seen so far. And we'll know more again, as we say, later on this evening against Spain. Really can't wait for that one. The semi-final competition stage with Ultimate Fan, of course, started yesterday with the conclusion of the last sort of quarterfinal games. Jess, how is your team looking heading into the final three matches of Euro 2020?
Oh, it's all right. I just have a lot of English and Danish players, basically, which doesn't bode well because they play against each other. So I was hoping that they would be a different mix. But good thing is I have Harry Kane. So if they go far, then that'll be good. I also have Harry Maguire. Yep. So I have both Harrys. And I have Phillips, which is good. And then from the Danish perspective, I have a defender in Maher. Right, I can't pronounce his name, sorry. Yeah. And I have Hoberg. He's had a good tournament too, to be fair. Exactly. So that's where we're at. So anyone on that side of the tournament will do well. So I want Kane to score some goals. Yep. Or I want Harry Maguire to keep scoring some goals. But so that's it really, just English and Danish.
English and Danish representation then. So it's all on Wednesday's game for you from a point scoring perspective. Are you expecting, of course, after the Germany game and Harry Kane scoring late on, it kind of looked like he struggled in the early stage of the competition, but it looked like that goal's given him, bundles of confidence, scored twice against the Ukraine on Saturday in Rome. Are you expecting a few more goals from him then in the next sort of one or two games?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, when people were talking about Harry Kane, I just didn't understand, to be honest, because, I mean, he's a goal scorer. He was never not going to score goals. And I think at the beginning of the tournament, England were a little bit more, they were just a little bit more conscious of the game and the results, and they weren't super expansive. They were just more solid than they were flair, if that makes sense. I think Gareth Southgate did not want to risk too much early on, just wanted to get out of the group and then use his more kind of flary players and risky players as the tournament went on. And I think you've seen that. I think as England have gone on, they've been a little bit more risky with how they want to score goals and what that looks like. Obviously, Shaw has come in now, whereas before it was Trippier, right? You also have Sancho came in and Grealish comes in. They all come in to take risks and that's why I think you see Harry Kane scoring some goals now. At the beginning, England didn't play like that. They didn't want to. They wanted to just make sure they got the points that they got out of the group, and then they could deal with the rest after that. And I think people are just forgetting that, you know.
Yeah.
So now when they've got their players that are more flary, that takes a little bit more risk, Harry Kane scoring goals. I mean, I feel like that's normal.
And of course, you know, being a professional player yourself, having that trust in your defence that scoring one goal is likely to be enough, that obviously must, you know, be a good feeling for any sort of, you know, midfielder or attacking player. That of course England yet to concede a goal up until the this game against Denmark.
Yeah, and that'll go on Southgate's decision making as well, right? The first two games, like, let's just get a goal, let's just set up shop, let's just get this win, and then we can start going for goals when we're secure. And I think that it's smart. He knows what he's doing. And that was why probably the first couple of games, everyone was like, oh, Harry Kane, Harry Kane. That wasn't his job then, you know, that his job then was to just make sure they got the point, got the goal, and got out of the group. And now it's like, okay, well, now we got all our players. Now we can be a little bit more free in the way that we want to play. He's scoring goals for fun.
Of course. There we go. Very well said, Jess. I suppose what better way to finish than a couple of match predictions?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll start with obviously Italy's game against Spain this evening. Again, it's going to be a very, very tight affair, as you already alluded to. But after the end of 90 minutes or even 120 minutes, what's your prediction for that game?
I think that it might go to extra time, but I think it'll be one in extra time. And I think Italy will win it 2-1.
Yeah.
Maybe even 3-1.
Yeah. Both teams to score, though.
Yeah, both teams to score. Yeah.
Okay. And England against Denmark on Wednesday night?
Oh. Do I think Denmark are going to score? That's the question. I'm going to go with yes, I do. But I think England will win. So I actually think it will be done in normal time and England will win 2-1.
Okay. 2-1 Italy and 2-1 England, then we're going for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I'd agree. I think it'd be England-Italy final. And I'm going to say that I like the idea of Italy against Spain going into extra time. I think I agree with you on that. I'm going to say 2-1 as well. And then I'm going to say England to win 1-0 inside 90 minutes. I'm hoping so anyway, for obviously for the sake of my heart rate. But we shall see. It's obviously going to be two very, very great games. And obviously, just Jess, it's you know, particularly in this COVID era, you know, countries all around the world have obviously suffered over the last, 16, 17 months. This has been such a uplifting, and football does that, more so than anything else. And whether you're a Welsh fan or an English fan, French fan, it's been a fantastic tournament, some unbelievable games of football. And it's almost a bit of a shame that we're less than a week away from it all concluding. But it's just been a joyous occasion to just sit down and watch this and have something to, give ourselves a smile on our face.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that it's helped get us into a little bit more of normality again, some people are doing outdoor tents and kind of watching what the summer looks like. So yeah, I think it's kind of a perfect time for us to get back into normality and get back into watching football and just doing what you would normally do in summer. So I think it's kind of been a perfect way to come out of the pandemic.
Yeah, of course. And obviously the good news, more particularly over in the UK yesterday, is that on the 19th of July, restrictions are set to be lifted fully. And obviously, I know in the States, there's kind of been fans, that you've been playing in front of, but I imagine for a player, there's no better buzz than that, is there? And playing behind closed doors, I think we kind of were able to live with it at the start, but seeing some of the scenes and the celebrations, across Europe and obviously over in America with yourself as well, it's just fantastic to have, people back in attendance, playing in front of big crowds, which is what you as players deserve and what you thrive off.
Yeah, no, I think it's just nice that we can just get back to any form of normality, to be honest, whether it be fans in a stadium or the fact that you can go out and watch the game on TV, or you can go to a pub and have a beer and watch the game. Like, ultimately, it's just a normality that is really helpful right now. I just think that what was great is that sporting events or any kind of events will help people kind of get back to feeling safe and going outside.
Yeah, very well said, Jess. We really
Yep.
appreciate your time as ever on the Ultimate Fan Fix. We'll conclude it there. Obviously, very, very much looking forward to the 2 semi-finals and the final, whoever that may be, on Sunday. 60,000 at Wembley across all 3 games. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Really looking forward to it. Good luck with your Ultimate Fan team in the semi-final stage. Obviously, for players, it's a £20,000 competition for the next 2 days. And Jess, we'll look forward to catching up with yourself in the aftermath of Euro 2020, when our winner will be crowned. So thank you very much for your time. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Don. Thank you. Bye.